What is up, Ravens flock? Huge shout out for your support for the 410 Sports Talk. James and Glenn are the best in the business. They're killing it right now. They love talking Raven talk. Make sure you go subscribe to their channel. Let's go Ravens. Big trust.
Hey guys, welcome into another episode of 410 Sports Talk. I'm James Haskell with my co-host Glenn Martin, and we are excited to announce the breaking news. But before we do, for all of you new to the show, we cover the Ravens, all things NFL. So make sure you hit the subscribe button if you are part of Ravens Vlog. Make sure you hit the like button. Leave your comments below. We love interacting with you guys. But Glenn, what is the news that the Ravens have?
Yes, although the Ravens didn't address the tackle position in the draft, they certainly did today. The Ravens brought in former Steeler left tackle Alejandro Villanueva on a 2-year deal worth a total of $14 million, with $8 million of that fully guaranteed. So they brought some depth into the tackle position. Now, the word is that they're saying they expect him to be the right tackle. And now that's a little bit interesting because he's 33 years old. He's played left tackle his entire career, never played any, as far as I can see, at right tackle, a little bit as the extra tackle in the tight end position here and there. But I haven't seen much of him at all at the right tackle position. So, Jimmy, I want to start there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's shakiness on whether or not Ronnie Stanley is going to be 100% when week 1 comes around. So I like the signing in the sense that it's an insurance policy for if something were to happen with Ronnie Stanley, either to where he doesn't start the season or if he ends up, any injuries. He's had a history of injuries. At least we have a backup there. But how confident are you that Alejandro can fill the void at right tackle?
So I was really nervous about this at first because of his lack of experience at the position. But you know what I did, Glenn? I looked at some highlights of Alejandro Villanueva, and I saw some old highlights in Army lined up at tight end.
Mm-hmm. Big
and
boy.
I saw a fade in the end zone that he caught. And I said, this dude is an athlete.
Okay.
I kind of forgot. I mean, tackles generally are really athletic guys. Ronnie Stanley's an all-state basketball player. Orlando Brown's just a mammoth, right? But I think this guy, I understand he's 33 and things like that, and there could be a lack of experience, and it's like going from being left-handed to right-handed. But I believe now than I did more before in his ability to do it because of his overall athleticism. I kind of discredited that because he is older.
Mm-hmm.
But when you are an athlete, when you have good feet, like those things, yeah, your speed and whatever might go away, but those things don't, they don't fade. You're an athlete until you die. You know what I mean? Like you can do it or you can't. So I think he has the athletic ability to do it. I'm still nervous about it. I'm not like 100% on it, but I feel much better now than I did 48 hours ago after I started watching some tape. And just watching him move, I felt, you know what? There's no way this guy can't do it. If he's dedicated to it, I think that he can get the job done.
Yeah, and I think the athleticism shouldn't come as much of a surprise when you consider his background. This guy was a captain in the Army, and obviously, that you can't get at 6'9", 320 pounds. I'm sure he had to do the same obstacle courses and show and do all that stuff that everyone else did, and he did it at a high level. Obviously, getting to captain before he decided to move on to the NFL. So. But yeah, I think you're right. I mean, look, 6'9", that guy's a tower. He's an absolute tower. And you're right. He did show some athleticism back in college when he was, asked to go out there and try and catch the ball. And what I find interesting about him is that, everyone says he had a down year last year, and to his standards, he did. But if you don't I'm encouraged by the fact that he's going from a Pittsburgh offense that rarely ran the ball. And when it did, it wasn't very effective at doing so. And you just use that quick passing scheme to try and put points on the board. And it worked early on, but it obviously, affected him down the stretch of the season. But coming to a team where, it's not, he's going from a guy in Big Ben who, while in past was able to, buy some time and allow his receivers to get open and make big plays down the field. This isn't the same old Big Ben. He's like he's stuck in cement back there. And he's going to a guy in Lamar Jackson that you can't rush the same way you can rush a Big Ben at this point in his career.
No, Lamar's an eel back there.
Exactly. So I'm confident that just the fact that he's going to this offense with Lamar back there, it's going to help him just by that alone. Just by the offensive system and having Lamar back there is going to help him drastically because guys can't pin their ears back. But I'm still concerned about the transition to right tackle. And I understand that, he's got all off season. This isn't going to be a surprise to him where an injury occurs and he's forced to go over there. It's going to be something he's going to have an entire off season to prep and get ready for. So I don't think it's impossible. But he's going to be 33 when the year starts. That has me a little bit apprehensive. So I'm still hopeful that they're not done addressing the right tackle position. I'd like to see them bring in another guy. I know they had Dennis Kelly in, who was the right tackle for the Tennessee Titans, because I don't really want to see us forced into a position where we have to rely on Tyree Phillips. So let's say Ronnie Stanley's not quite ready week 1. And let's say maybe even they pup list him for the first few games, the first few weeks of the season until Ronnie's ready to step out there. Alejandro's, I like the fact that we have Alejandro in there to play left, but that means we're going to have to rely on Phillips to play right. And that scares the bejesus out of me, Jimbo.
Well, let me, I'm going to address all your concerns in a really beautiful bowed up way and just give it right to you. But before I do, I want to say this. I have a confession to make.
Okay.
Alejandro Villanueva is I don't have a lot of favorite Steelers. I've never liked a Steeler. He's my favorite Steeler of all time.
Wow.
My favorite. I've admired him from afar because I'm a sucker for his entire storyline.
Yeah.
Right. Like I love the military commitment, like having military, grandparents and things like that. And my dad working with veterans, like I'm really sensitive to that. So I love his commitment to the military. I think it's awesome. And then what that's done to his team mentality, like, being a team player, understanding what it's like to be part of a team when there's live bullets and to literally rely on someone for your life. And him carrying that into the NFL. I just like that he's steady. I think he's a consistent force, and he's going to be, I think, a huge loss for them. And statistically, I want to talk about that. No one is saying that they would prefer Alejandro Villanueva over Orlando Brown Jr., but I am concerned that fans are throwing a little too much shade Alejandro's way, and so I think we should give him some credit. Now, these are grades from ESPN and from PFF that I kind of want to break down, both at left tackle, which neither of them will be, only one of them will be playing this year.
Right.
But these are not grades at right tackle. For 2020, Orlando Brown, according to PFF, had a 76.5 grade. That's overall grade. And then Alejandro had a 74.6 grade. So we're talking about a very slight difference. Mm-hmm. And then, and of course, 2020, you talked about stylistically, the offense is being extremely different. So Brown had 3 sacks on 514 pass plays that he gave up. Alejandro on 714, so 200 more, same amount of sacks, 3. With a way less mobile quarterback. Just like you said, I imagine Ben's feet in those Home Depot buckets with just cement in them. I'm trying to move around. And then the other thing that's interesting too, because I know people are going to talk about his ability to run block because they had a terrible rushing offense last year. He was 18th in win percentage in running downs, running plays, and Brown was 21st. So look, I'm not saying that he's better or I would prefer him. Obviously, Orlando is proven and he's way younger. So like just that alone, obviously I would prefer.
And one's
Orlando.
ascending, one's descending.
Right. But based on I also think those statistics are important because I don't want Alejandro to get seen as this huge downgrade. I don't expect it to be that. And then the last thing I'll say about Tyree to hopefully make you feel a little better here is that because he's so young in football, everyone talks about this first to second year leap. Mm-hmm. I believe that he will have, of all of our second year players, if he's prepping and do everything he can, I think he will have the greatest distance of improvement between year 1 and year 2 because he's going into year 7 of football or whatever.
Right.
So not only is he year 2 in the NFL, he's so new in his career where he has no idea where his potential is still to this point. So his jump could be astronomical, which of course I'm hoping for. So like you said, I don't want to rely on him, but I'm pretty confident that he's going to show up and be a different guy physically and mentally, much more prepared to take on a bigger role next year. And the last thing before I continue to filibuster here is I want to give you the projected starting lineup for the offensive line next year. Okay. Pretty ridiculous. considering Zeitler is now the smallest man on our line at 6'4", 315 pounds.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, so this is what it is. So left tackle, Ronnie Stanley. Left guard, Ben Cleveland. Center, Bradley Bozeman. Right guard, Kevin Zeitler. Right tackle, Alejandro Villanueva.
There's some big boys. Now, do you have the heights and weights on them?
I don't have the heights and weights on all of them, but I did see that.
I know Ben Cleveland's 6'6", 357.
Right, but they did clearly point out, they emphasized that Kevin Zeitler is now the smallest starting lineman that we have at 6'4", 314. Ronnie's 6'6" as well. I think he's like 330 or 320. Yeah, Ben's huge. Alejandro, obviously, and Bradley is going to be a huge center. He might be one of the biggest centers in the NFL.
Yeah, and I guess, to your point, if Alejandro, who obviously there's no debating on his work ethic and his attention to detail, judging from his military career. So if he's able to make that transition somewhat seamlessly,
right.
In theory, it's easier to play right tackle, which is why you see a bunch of collegiate left tackles turn to right as they get to the pros. So if his talents and physical abilities are diminishing a little bit, it should make it easier for him to slide over to the right side rather than the demands of the left side. So I do like that. I also like the fact that in more snaps played, he had less penalties than Orlando Brown Jr. because we know that was a big area of concern for the Ravens last year. Penalties killed some key drives. It seemed like every single game, they didn't seem to really get better even throughout the year. It was that one costly penalty. And when this team gets behind the down marker, they struggle to get back to it. Yeah, they need to stay ahead of the chains, no doubt about it. And the one other thing I want to point out is this signing couldn't have come at a better time, Jimbo, because I'm looking at the reports today that the starting Broncos offensive tackle, Juwan James,
so true.
He got hurt today. He got hurt, and he got hurt away from the team, and apparently it could cost him upwards of $20 million. But more importantly to the Ravens, the Broncos are now out a starting tackle. And boy, if you don't think Alejandro would have been the very first or one of the very first calls they would have made, you're out of your mind. So
I think the only guy in front of him would have been who, Leno or from the Browns that they let go, the left tackle. It's because he's younger. But yeah, I understand what you're saying completely.
Yeah, I'm sure he would have been right at the top of their list. So the fact that the Ravens did get him in right in the nick of time before his stock may have gone up and he may have lost a bid, the Ravens may have lost a bidding war, to him to go to Denver. So I'm happy that he's here because either way, even if, they end up finding out that, even if he can't play right tackle, Ronnie's, I don't think he's played a full season. So chances are they're going to need to at least have one or two games of Alejandro at left tackle. So it's nice to see, that he's in the house and that it's not going to be as steep of a drop off from when Stanley goes down to Tyree Phillips or who's the other tackle? I'm blanking on his name. Andre Smith. Yeah, Andre Smith. So, yeah, I mean, nonetheless, I'm happy. I think it's more of a 1 year, $8 million deal that's disguised as a 2 year, $14 million deal. And I'm fine with that. And if he plays well, then boom, we got him for relatively cheap for the following season on that second year at just $6 million. So I'm happy about it, but I want to know what you guys think. Are you excited they're bringing in some tackle help after, not addressing that position in the draft? Or do you think this guy's washed? I've seen a lot of people say that. This guy's washed. Pittsburgh doesn't want him, even though, man, I'm looking at Pittsburgh offensive line, and I'm sure the Browns, I know the Ravens are licking their chops.
Yeah, take Najee Harris all you want.
Yeah,
all you want.
They look like they're putting together the worst offensive line group in all of football, much less the division. So they got some work to do there, but I'm happy Alejandro's here. I think Jimmy's pretty excited about it. But let us know what you guys think, and we'll talk soon.